I want to talk today for everybody listening in. We're not discriminating with age here, but it is powerful. 21 years old. I'd love to take all the credit for this, but I can't. I can't take any of the credit, actually. But for everybody listening in, I'm excited to have you with us just to provide some perspective. There's a lot of young people getting into our industry that are looking to find success, whether it be in life insurance, Medicare, annuities, all different types of markets. What a great opportunity to have you on with us as a guy who's young, 21 years old, and just coming in swinging immediately right out of the gate. I want to start off today, Collin. I want to give a little bit of a background to those that are listening in. What were you doing? There wasn't much time because you're only 21, but what were you doing before you found this industry?
Yeah, so right before I got in, I was attempting to continue my college football dreams, as every athlete hopes to do. But that ended after I got injured. I believe it was like a month and a half into the season, and I was just really stuck, and I had no idea what to do. And I there was always this thing in the back of my mind, Dad does insurance. Dad's in the insurance business, right? And it was always there, but I didn't immediately hop into it. I kind of knew that I wanted to try and get into it, but it wasn't an immediate hop into it and start get going. I remember I got a job at Kohl's, and I was working the 5:30 a.m. shift straight from getting back from playing college football, and that was not fun. And I remember speaking with you, and I was just like, I can't do this. I just can't do this for the rest of my life. This is not me. And it was brutal. 5:30 a.m. in the cold. It was in November, so it was just brutal. I knew I couldn't do it. And then I remember I told you, I think I want to finally get into the insurance business. And you're like, okay, gotcha. Got to take your test first. And I think after my fourth time attempting the test, which I've never been a big test taker, which is probably why I didn't get the college route in the first place, which I kind of happy I didn't do that. But after the fourth test, I finally passed my test and I got straight into it. And, why I wanted to get into it, I always saw the guys that were around you guys, around Equita. I always thought they were really cool. They were really, you guys had a lot of passion for what they were doing, and just the community that Equita had. It reminded me of the locker room, like the football team. You have your superstars, the guys that, aren't as good as the superstars, but everyone's treated like a team. And I always wanted to be a part of something like that. And that's what really excited me to get into it.
That's cool. I remember telling you when you were talking about initially getting into it, I was like, nah, dude, you got to go get a job. Go see the real world.
Yeah.
Because you knew and I knew there wasn't going to be any nepotism. Like, you were going to be treated just like everybody else with respect and poured into and all that. But you needed to go see the real world first. And you definitely did that. You definitely, got to see what, how the other half lives in terms of what it takes to be an adult. And you saved your money, you did a good job, all that fun stuff. But when you made that decision, it was like, okay, well, you're going to work with a mentor here. You're going to work with somebody that can show you how to be successful. It's not going to be Dad. And, shout out Holden Hassel for working with you. Shout out Jeremy Johnson here, the virtual specialist, for doing what he does. But you just jumped right into the culture. You jumped into the deep end. And where you started, obviously, is not where you are today. In not just in terms of skill set and how efficient you are at what you do. You also completely started on a total opposite end of the spectrum in terms of how you generate business. Tell us a little bit about where you started and how you were generating business or attempting to, and then where you are today.
Yeah, so when I first started, I was obviously in person, and I can remember the very first blitz we went on down to Beaumont was really like my third month in the business. We were just door knocking because it was a rough area. Holden was out there, you were out there. And the door knock approach compared to what I'm doing now is completely different, obviously. It was a little bit more of a grind. It was a culture shock for me. And I think it was the best thing that could have happened before I got into virtual, because it's hard to talk to somebody in person, especially coming straight out of basically high school is what it was, because it was 3 months after I was out of high school, 4 months. And sitting there and learning, okay, I got to talk to this person. I got to make them understand the right way why we're doing what we're going to do. And in person, I feel like helped me develop the communication skills more than anything. The grind, I feel like I always would have worked hard no matter what. That's just always who I've always been. Everything I do, I want to be the best at whatever I do, right?
And but you were at a little bit of a disadvantage, wouldn't you say, because of how young you were? Would they tell you that when you were in the house?
And they're like, "Are you sure you're old enough to do this?" I was like, "I got my license. I'm pretty sure I'm old enough. I'm licensed in the state of Texas." Yeah, I would say, I remember I talked to Jeremy Gordy and I was telling him that they would always make fun of my age. And they're like, "Oh no, you seem a little bit too young to do this." So that was a little bit of a disadvantage. But at the end of the day, I feel like I kept just trying to work around that and tell them, hey, my father, he's been in the business over 20 years. And just kind of the workaround is get them those examples of, hey, my mentor, Holden Hassel, he's going to be connected with me on the phone today. Just working around those things. But yes, definitely at a disadvantage.